What is good, everyone? I'm going to do a little review of something a bit different today. On our news in Australia, there was... what? I don't want to do that. There was a clip of President Trump being interviewed by an Australian. I don't know if the Australian, I think he must work in America. It was just like Comedy Central, the interview. It was just unbelievable. So I thought I would do a reaction to watching that. Oh my god, seriously? Oh, Game of Thrones flashbacks. Oh, Black Lives Matter Street. Watch for Black Lives. Masks required past that point. I really feel sorry for you, America, as does most of the world. I've got an autoimmune disease.
Thank you so much for having us.
I take immunosuppressants, so if I lived in America, I would be terrified. But luckily I live in Australia. Oh, there's the press secretary.
Okay.
Mr. President, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your
Orange
time,
Oompa Loompa.
and we appreciate your commitment to answer our
All
questions.
right, mate.
Sure.
Really appreciate that. Over the years, I've heard you talk about your adherence to a philosophy called positive thinking. This is the mantra that if you believe something, if you visualize it, then it will happen.
It just
To an
seems like a
extent,
comedy
I also
show
think
already.
in terms of the downside,
Right.
Maybe
I
it's this
do.
Aussie
I've
guy.
been given a lot of credit for positive thinking, but I also think about downside because only a fool doesn't.
To what extent do you think that that positive thinking mindset is suitable to handling the worst pandemic that we've seen in a century?
I think you have to have a positive outlook. Otherwise, you would have nothing without a positive outlook. I think we've done an incredible job between the ventilators and stopping very infected people from China coming in, meaning putting the ban on China, which frankly nobody wanted me to do.
What the fuck,
Practically
mate?
nobody, because it was very...
Well, for starters, the virus started in China, but Chinese tourists travel the world. And it spread to everywhere in like January, February. It was in Australia then. So it's not China is then spreading the virus. The virus was here in Australia in February. And then it can spread through the community. And that's what's happened in America. It's spread to somewhere from China. Positive thinking by saying everything's okay when it's not. That's not positive thinking, that's lying.
early in January. Then putting the ban on Europe, not an easy thing to do. When you put a ban on Europe, that's a big thing. We would have probably lost hundreds of thousands of lives more had I not done that. And all of the experts, every one of them.
Luckily, we, Australia,
put
put bans on all countries and tried to get
3 months
all
later, they were all
Australians
saying,
back in Australia.
I'm glad you did it.
Who's saying, I'm
Criticism
glad
of
you did it? Are
that
you
is
saying
most prominent is about
you're
the
glad you did
communication.
it?
It's the public health experts saying that it needs to be based in reality. And they're saying that the wishful thinking and the salesmanship is just not suitable in a time when a pandemic has killed
Yeah, you need a leader.
145,000 Americans. And it's that I understand what you're saying, that people need to hear positive thinking. But, you know, for the past 5 months, it's been the virus is totally under control. And the cases have been going up and the deaths have been going up.
Look.
But you've been saying it's under
Nobody
control.
knew what this thing was all about.
Well,
This
he's
has never happened before.
good interviewer.
1917, but it was a totally different, it was a flu in that
Yeah.
case, okay? But other than 1917, there's never been anything like this. And by the way, if you watch the fake news on television, they don't even talk about it. But you know, there are 188 other countries right now that are suffering, some proportionately far greater than we are, okay? As bad as we are.
Very few will.
Some proportionately greater than we are, right?
So anyway, so the first one, fake news. I don't really understand that because in Australia we have the news and there's no one news that props up our Prime Minister and the other news doesn't. If you switch channels, both newses are saying the same thing. Like there's no one news says something totally different to another news. So I feel sorry for you on that front as well. Fake news. And when he's talking about other countries have it worse, the countries that probably do are like Brazil, where there are people living in like third world situations, maybe over in India, Africa. But I don't think first world countries are doing it like America is.
Right now, Spain is having a big spike. There are tremendous problems in the world. You look at Moscow, look at what's going on with Moscow, look at Brazil, look at these countries, what's going on.
Yeah.
This was sent to us by China, one way or the other, and we're never going to forget it. Believe me, we're never going to forget it. And we were beating China at...
My God, he's never going to forget it. That sounds like he wants a fight with China. What the fuck is his go?
Every single point, we were beating them on trade. We were making progress like nobody's ever made progress.
You can't. It's not a blame game.
Before the pandemic, they had the worst year, Jonathan, that they've had in
was
67
his job.
years. You know that with the tariffs and everything
To
else.
shut down America and contain the borders.
Some of it to the farmers. The farmers were doing well because they were targeting the farmers. I was targeting China. We were doing good. Then all of a sudden the game changed and I had to close it down. I closed down the greatest economy ever in history.
Oh my God.
And then I closed it down and now we're opening it. And we saved, by the way, by closing it down, we saved millions of lives. If we would have gone to herd, and we knew very little about the disease, if we would have gone herd, we would have lost millions of people,
It's like watching
one person's too much.
a train
We're at
wreck.
140,000 people. One person is too much. We're at 140. We lost millions of people. And those people that really understand it, they said it's incredible the job that we've done. And again, I bring it up.
Who says that?
Who says that?
Banning China from coming in.
Who says that? Is he just saying things?
By the time it was already here.
Yeah,
By
exactly.
the time you banned China, it came in through Europe.
Nobody knew the extent. Nobody knew how contagious it was.
But the question is, Mr. President,
maybe China knew.
by June, we knew things were bad. And, you know, the last time I was with you was the day before
February,
your
March,
Tulsa rally
April,
in the
May.
Oval.
That's 4 months.
You know, you were saying big, huge crowd. It was indoors.
By the way,
these people, they listen to you.
Excuse me, Jonathan.
Yeah.
We had a 19,000 seat stadium. First of all, we had 12,000 people, not 6,000, which you reported and other people reported. But
Why
you couldn't
would
even
the
get in.
president
It was like an armed camp.
want
We
a
had
huge-
120 Black Lives Matter people.
I understand, but why
there.
would you have wanted a
And
huge
Tulsa,
crowd?
Excuse me, wait. And Tulsa, well, because that area was a very good area at the time. It was an area that was
Cases
pretty
were
much
stuck.
over. After, a month later, it started going up. That's a month later. But Tulsa was a very...
So he's saying like the cases were already there in Tulsa, and Trump's denying it. He's saying no Tulsa. He's a salesman. Wow.
that Oklahoma was doing very well as a state. It was almost free. It spiked a month later, month and a half, 2 months later, but it was a good area. We had a tremendous crowd. We had tremendous response. You couldn't even, it was like an armed camp. You couldn't even get through. You couldn't get anybody in.
But I'm
we
talking
had
about
12,000 people. It was incorrectly reported.
What's
the
he
other thing we
talking
had that
about?
nobody wants to talk about, so Fox broadcast it. It was the highest rating in the history of Fox Television Saturday night.
It's talking
It
about
was the
coronavirus.
highest rating.
Mr.
My
President,
speech, well, wait a minute, you're saying something.
Paul.
Yes.
That
Oh,
speech
Jonathan.
was the highest rated speech in the history of Fox Television on Saturday night. And nobody says that.
I think you misunderstand me. I'm not criticizing your ability to draw a crowd. Are you
Well,
kidding me?
I'm
I've
just
covered you
saying
for 5
this.
years. You draw massive
I'm just
crowds, you
saying
get huge
this.
ratings. I'm asking about the
At
public
the time,
health.
and I canceled another one. I had to cancel it. We were
Right.
going to have a great crowd
Thank
in
God
New
you
Hampshire,
canceled
and I
another one.
canceled it for the same reason.
But here's the question. I've covered you for a long time. I've gone to your rallies. I've talked to your people. They love you. They listen to you. They listen to every word
Oh,
you say. They
dude.
hang on your every word. They don't listen to me or the
He's doing such a good job. He's like propping him up on a pedestal. Like he's not attacking him and questioning Trump. He's like propping him up and then just letting Trump just go blah 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 and spill his lollies And then he's calling him out when he doesn't have any facts.
Media or Fauci, they think we're fake news. They want to get their advice
Fake
from you.
news.
And so when they hear you say everything's under control, don't worry about wearing masks.
Talk about
I mean,
fake
these people,
president,
many of them
mate.
are older people,
What's
Mr.
your
President.
definition of control? Yeah, under the
It's giving them a false sense of
right
security.
now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean we aren't doing.
No, he just said it is what it is. 1,000 are dying a day. It's true. What? No.
1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean we aren't doing everything we can. It's under control as much as you can control it. This is a horrible plague that beset us.
You really think this is as much as we can control?
Well,
1,000
I'll
deaths
tell you,
a day?
I'd like to know if somebody, first of all,
Bet you don't do any
we've done a
contact
great
tracing.
job. We've gotten the governors everything they needed.
Bet you
They
you
didn't
don't.
do their job.
Contact
Many of them
tracing
didn't,
is
and some of them did.
number
Someday we'll sit
one
down, we'll talk about the successful
cut
ones,
down.
the good ones. Look at that smile. The good ones and the bad. We had good and bad, and we had a lot in the middle. But we had some incredible governors. I could tell you right now who the great ones are and who the not so great ones are.
I bet you I could
But
tell you who the great
governors
ones
do
are.
it. We
The
gave
great
them
ones
massive amounts of
are
material.
the ones who
Mr. President, you changed
suck
your
up his
message
ass.
this week in terms of you cancelled
And the bad ones
Jacksonville
are the ones who
Convention. You
criticise
said wear a
him.
mask. You're saying, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's not something you like to say. I know you said that. The big question...
Not get worse like the original flow. You understand that. But
Well, I
Huh?
hope not. It's 1,000.
now if you look, Arizona's going down.
If I could just finish my question.
Texas is going down and Florida's going down.
The question is, are you going to, even some of your own aides wonder whether you would stick to that message until election day, whether in a week or two you won't say, right, we've got to reopen again, we can't do this stuff anymore, that you'll get bored of talking about the virus and go back to
So
that
you
sort
heard
of
it first.
cheerleading.
Florida's
Never
going
get bored
down.
of
Texas
talking
is
about
going
this.
down.
It's too big a thing. And again,
So will you
it could
stick
have
to
been
that
stopped
message?
by China. It should have been stopped by China, and it wasn't.
But now it's here,
We
and
have
you're the
it
president.
here, and I think I'm
You're the
very
leader.
consistent.
You're the
This is
leader.
a very serious thing,
Dude, they needed to volumize that. But see how he snuck that in there? Now it's here. You're the president. You're the leader. He didn't even hear him say it.
We have 140,000 people at this moment.
More
This is a
than that.
very, very
Yeah.
serious situation. And what you have to do is handle it the best it can be handled. And again, I'm working with the governors. I got them tremendous amounts of equipment that they would have never gotten. Jonathan, they wouldn't have equipment now if I didn't get it.
When can you commit, by what date, that every American will have access to the same day testing that you get here in the White House?
Well, we have great testing. We're doing, and
By
many
what
other
date?
people do. Let me
Wow.
explain. The testing. We have tested more people than any other country, than all of Europe put together times two. We have tested more people than anybody ever thought of. India has 1.4 billion people. They've done 11 million tests. We've done 55. It'll be close to 60 million tests. And, there are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books. What books? What testing does
no,
is
sorry,
it shows, wait a minute,
who
John,
said-
let me explain. What testing does, it shows
No.
cases, it shows where there may be cases.
No.
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
They've done 11 million tests. We've done 55, it'll be close to 60 million tests. And, there are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the
No.
books.
What books?
What testing does is
sorry,
it shows, wait a minute,
who
John,
said-
let me explain. What testing does, it shows
No.
cases, it shows where there may
No.
be cases.
No.
Other countries test. You
What?
know when they test? They test when somebody's sick. That's when they test. And I'm not saying
here we
they're
go.
right or wrong. Nobody's done it like we've done it. We've gotten absolutely no credit for it. But we've come up with so many different tests. The only thing that we have now is some people have to wait longer than we'd like them to.
Okay, so here we go. The reason you have so many cases is not because you ran so many tests, it's because you have so many people infected. Everyone knows that, surely. Come on, how does he not know that? You don't create cases by testing. Fuck, mate. Americans, please comment below. You know this, right?
It's a big problem.
We want point to point. We want to have a 5-minute to a 15-minute test.
When do
We
you think?
have, and like many others.
Every
from what
American.
I understand, we're close to 50%.
That's a
where
good
it's
thing if you can have a
point-to-point
test that is that
We are
quick.
making thousands of instruments, thousands of tests right now, tens of thousands that can be distributed to various parts of the country. But you have to understand, and we've even sent some of them to other countries where they had a big problem. Jonathan, almost 50%, in fact, I think the number might be over, is immediate testing. The other's tough. You take a test, you have to send it to a laboratory. Let's say that takes a day. Let's say it's a day.
It's difficult.
You know, so it's 3 or 4 or 5 days. There's
Jonathan's
nothing
bored.
you do about that.
But when do you think we'll have it for
I
everyone?
think that you
What
will
day?
have
'Cause he's not
that
catching Trump out on
relatively
anything
soon.
at the moment.
What does that mean?
You already have half.
The best bit was the
I'm
manual
trying to
bit
get
in the
back to
book.
you because I don't
Okay.
want to have you
That's
write
fine.
in 1 month.
That's
I
fine.
didn't make it. I missed it by
Yeah,
a day,
I
and
get
it's
it.
a headline.
Mr. President, I want to talk about the federal intervention.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
one thing I would say about
Yeah.
testing. Because we test so much, we show cases.
Oh, my
So we show many, many cases. We show tremendous number of, I know you're smiling when I say that,
No,
but I'm
but come on. I
telling you.
mean, I've heard you
Because
say
a
this.
fucking
Other
you could, a
countries
baby
don't test
knows.
like we do, so they don't show cases.
Just a couple of points on that. I wasn't going to continue on the testing, but you said it. So
Come on.
we're testing so much because it's spread so far in America.
We're
And
testing
when you
so much because we had the ability to test.
Okay,
Because we came up with
but
tests.
South Korea-
Jonathan, we didn't even have a test. When I took over, we didn't even have a test. Now, in all fairness.
why would you
there
have a
was
test?
no
The
test
virus
for
didn't
this.
exist.
I
How would you have a
was
test?
going to say, there was no test for this new, we didn't have a test because there was no test.
course.
In a very short order, we got one test, we got another test.
It was broken, the first
Many of those tests are now obsolete because we've, you know, it's called science, and all of a sudden something's better. But because we tested so many people, 55, 60 million people very soon, we get cases. You test, some kid has even just a little runny nose, it's a case.
Of
And
course.
then you
Oh my
report
God.
many cases. So we look.
Bro, you test the kid with the runny nose. Oh, positive for coronavirus. It's not a fucking runny nose. That coronavirus can kill his grandparents. So it's not just a fucking runny nose. It's coronavirus that can kill his great grandparents or his sister who has leukemia. Fuck me. What a fucking idiot.
Like we have more cases than massive countries like China, which, by the way, doesn't report, as you know.
Well, I don't put any stock in China's
The
figures.
point is,
Yeah.
because we
Jonathan.
are so much better at testing than any other country in the world, we show more cases.
The figure I look at is death. And death is going up now.
Okay, no,
and it's
no.
1,000 a day.
If you look at death.
Yeah, it's
okay,
going
let's
up
look.
again.
Let's look.
Daily death.
Take a look at some of these
Take a look.
charts.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
You look at
We're
my
gonna look.
chart here. It
Let's look.
says,
And if you
oh,
look at
deaths down.
It's starting
Oh,
to go up
health
again.
up. Oh my
Well,
God.
right here, the United States is lowest in
Jonathan's
categories.
face.
We're lower than the world.
Lower than
We're
the
lower
world?
than Europe.
In what? In what?
Take a look.
No.
Right here.
No.
There's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
Much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
you can't do that. You have
Why
to go.
can't I do that?
You have to go by. You have to go by where. Look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why
of
not
death.
as a proportion of
When we
population?
have so many- What it's.
Okay. So Trump's graph shows. Okay, so America has the most cases in the world, the most. It also has the most deaths, but because it has so many cases, the percentage of people that have died in those cases is, say, like 30% or something like that, or maybe even lower, like 15%. But a country that has only had 1,000 cases but has had 200 people die, that's 20% of the population. I think I got that right. So his thing's flawed. He's lying to you because he's using the wrong system to measure deaths. It should be going on the population of America, how many people have died, not how many people have had the virus and how many people have died. Because America's had the most people in the world with cases.
Says is when you have somebody that has it, where there's a case, the people that live from those cases.
It's surely a relevant statistic to say if the US has X population and X percentage of death of that population versus South Korea.
Go by the cases.
Well, look at South Korea, for example. 51 million population, 300 deaths. It's like, it's crazy compared to
that.
I do. It's on the.
Don't know that.
You think they're faking their statistics? South Korea?
I won't get into that because they have a very good relationship with the country.
No.
But you don't know that. And they have
How does
look,
he not think?
Low,
here's
9,000.
Here's one right
How
here.
does he not think he knows this? He's just looking at the paper. You don't know this. It's my bit of paper.
Meaning we're first.
My bit of paper says, no.
Again, it's
My bit of paper.
Okay.
and we have
What the
cases
fuck?
because of the testing.
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases it's different.
No, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but
If you take a look at this other chart, look, this is our
Jonathan.
testing, I believe. This is the testing, yeah.
yeah, we do more tests.
No, wait a minute. Well, don't we get credit for that? And because we do more tests, we have more cases. In other words, we test more. We have. Now take a look. The top one, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. The top, Jonathan.
If hospital rates were going down and
How
deaths
does he
were going
not get
down,
it?
I'd say terrific.
He's just he's spinning you bullshit.
But they're all
He
going up.
knows. He's just spinning it.
60,000 Americans are in hospital.
If you watch the
1,000
news
dying
or
a
read the
day.
papers, they usually talk about new cases, new cases, new cases.
I'm talking about death.
Well, you look at
going
death.
up.
Death is way down from where it was.
It's 1,000 a
Death.
day. It was 2,500. It went down to 500. Now it's going up again.
Excuse me, where it was is much higher than where it is right now.
It went down and it went up again.
But now it's going down again. It's
going
going
up.
down in Arizona. It's going down in Florida.
Nationally,
it's
it's
going
going
down in Texas. Take a look at this. These are the tests.
It's going down in Florida?
Yeah, it leveled out and it's going down. That's my report as of yesterday.
Anyway, Mr. President, if I could change subject.
It is going down in Arizona.
Arizona it is.
Ah,
Arizona
he's
it is.
trying to get
Texas
his
has
point
spiked.
across.
And it spiked and it's now going down in Florida. It's evened out and going down in Florida.
I'll have to see those figures.
But you have to look at this. This is the number of tests compared
I
to the
don't
rest
deny
of
your
the world.
figures. You've done more tests by far than the rest of the
Right.
world. I don't
and
deny
because
that.
we've done more tests, we have more cases.
You
You
have
can take
more
that back.
infections.
Check it out.
Mr. President, different
infections.
subject. It's been widely reported that the US has intelligence indicating that
All right.
Russia paid bounties.
I don't want to hear about this. Ah, dear. So there you go. That is the US president talking about coronavirus. Wow. That was Jonathan doing a fantastic job. I just cannot believe that that man runs one of the most powerful countries in the world. Luckily for us in Australia, sure, we have government that has difference of opinions, but when coronavirus came along, they created their own like task force or something. They created some sort of group where all the people from different aspects of government and different states come together weekly. And now at the moment, it's probably more than weekly. It's like twice a week, 3 times a week. And they all come down and they have a little discussion on how the country is going as one. And that's why we're doing pretty good. Actually, Victoria at the moment is in a bit of hot water, but they got their finger on the pulse and they're going to try and get things settled down. But nothing like this. Like he's having a Tulsa, what do they call it? A big rally in June, February, coronavirus, February, March, April, May, 4 or 5 months later, and he's still out there getting people to come to rallies when the whole country's infected. Crazy. But yeah, that was one of the best laughs I've had in a while. I don't know, Jonathan just made it seem like a comedy show. I don't know if it was Jonathan or if it's Trump, but Jonathan was a fantastic interviewer. All right, please comment below anything you thought about that interview, my reaction, your reaction, Jonathan's reaction. Trump. Hit like and subscribe if you like this content, and I'll see you next time.